This is, I think, the first time we haven't been in the same room. So thanks, Gretel, for that. So let's get straight into it. How to create a portfolio of e-learning content. So just some disclaimers, first of all. This webinar is not about creating a Captivate module, even though we'll create a small one just for the purpose of the demonstration. But this really isn't about creating a Captivate module, so we don't look at features of Captivate. There are a couple of things we'll look at. This isn't about also creating, this isn't about a deep dive into the portfolio platforms that we'll be looking at. So one of the portfolio platforms that I want to look at is what's called WordPress, which is up on the screen at the moment. So I'll be going into this in more detail shortly. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about WordPress because there are so many areas, so many different ways you can find out more about WordPress. So this isn't about WordPress as such. And also, it's not about, where's my other screen? It's not about Adobe Portfolio per se. This is the other portfolio platform that I'll be looking at. So we don't go deep into these platforms, but what I do aim to do today is to join the dots. So it's about showing you how we can get from Captivate to create your module, whatever that might be. How can we get that content to display in Portfolio, MyPortfolio, or how can we get that content to display in WordPress? So there are a couple of tricks with regards to getting Captivate content to display in these types of sites. As I said, there are some disclaimers. We don't dive deep into a lot of these, but I just want to show you how to join the dots to get you started and to get you an online presence to start demonstrating and showcasing your work. I will also be using YouTube as well. So just my preference and what I would highly suggest for you to consider is to go down the WordPress path, because having some WordPress knowledge is a great skill to have, and it's great to put on your resume to say that you've created a WordPress site or you've managed a WordPress site. But I would also like to, as I said, I'm going to go down the Adobe Portfolio path. Now this Adobe Portfolio is actually under the URL myportfolio.com, and it is a free service, but only if you have Creative Cloud. So you do need to have a Creative Cloud account or have some Creative Cloud apps. I've got the full Creative Cloud suite, so that's why I've got it. Some of you who've got the full Creative or some Creative Cloud, to be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure where it cuts off. If you've just got Captivate, I don't think you can access this, but all is not lost because at least you can create your portfolio under another platform. Now, there are other web platforms out there, web-based platforms like WordPress, so you could potentially look at another site called Foursquare, or there's another one called Wix, for example. So there are quite a few different ways of being able to create your own website. But as I said, it's more about wanting to show you how to get from Captivate to these sites. So, are we ready? Okay, so a couple of things. First of all, we're going to create a quick little Captivate project. Now, I'm not going to worry about responsive too much. I'm just going to go and create a blank project. The size of the project isn't really relevant at this stage. What I would probably tend to do, so I'm just going to close this down and do that again. Blank project. So with the canvas size, Because we're ultimately probably going to put this on or put a version of it or a recording of it on YouTube, we might want to consider the widescreen YouTube option. I've actually even sometimes gone as high as 1920 to 1080, and I'm actually going to do that right now. And I'll explain in a minute why. But let's go with that size. Click on Create. Now, we'll go into more detail about the blank project option and the canvas size in the next webinar. So here's a tiny little hint as to what we're going to cover in the next webinar. We're going to look at creating what's called scalable content. And the 1920 by 1080 is quite good for obviously big monitors, because when you insert images, the scalability of those images actually is maintained a lot better. So keeping with the Star Wars theme, we've got Anakin and Padme here. So I absolutely have no idea why I chose that. But anyway, let's put them in there. We've got a title as well. I'm actually going to delete that and just use a normal shape. And welcome to my e-learning example. As I said, this is not really about it's not really about deep diving into Captivate, but let's have a look. So I'm just going to create a new slide. Anyone remember the shortcut key to create a new slide? Quick in the chat. Shortcut key to create a new slide in Captivate. No, Gretel, no cheating. No cheating. No, Craig, that's PowerPoint. Close. Dave, I'm going to email you a chocolate right now. So, Dave, well done. You get the chocolate. So Control-Shift-J, brand new slide. We'll just put in a new couple of, I'll just put 2 buttons here. Okay, so Sith and Jedi. Now, look, I'll have a bit of a chat while I'm talking about this. For those of you who work in a corporate environment and you're thinking, okay, I want to create an e-learning portfolio, but I'm not allowed to put work-related content out in the public domain because it's sensitive, it's intellectual property, there's sensitive data, there's system screens and things like that. Well, use your imagination and create an e-learning module about a personal interest of yours. So, for example, if you like Star Wars or whatever it might be, cars, animals, space. Anyone doing the world record for the stargazing tonight? Might see you there. But create an e-learning module based on a topic that you like, because potential employees really want to see what you can. It's not really about the content as such, it's about how you put it together. So I'm just going to quickly do another, so Sith goes here, and I'm going to use this as a button. And by the way, when you turn a shape into a button, what's 2 things you should always do immediately after turning a shape into a button? Quick, another chocolate. Anyone? When you create a button from a shape, what do you normally do? Anyone? Bueller? Come on, Dave. Set the action. Yep, before you set the action, so you don't forget. I'm going to give you a bit of a clue here. Name it and set the action. Yep, change pause settings. Yes, you can do that, Scott. So the pause settings will appear here. But those of you, yes, name it and set the action. Thanks, Sharon. That's absolutely correct. Name the button. You might sometimes see SS, BTN for Smart Shape Button, etc. However, don't forget, you've got these settings down here where it's disable click sounds. And I would probably use hand cursor as well. So is that ringing bells for people? And I'm just going to center this button. And what I want to do is I want to go back to slide 2, jump back to slide 2. And then I'm actually just going to create a brand new slide here called Jedi. And then this slide, once again, I probably could have copied the shift button. Anyway, actions, jump back to slide 2. Yes, Scott, that's right, hand cursor, disable, click sound. Don't forget, you've also got this option here, apply to all buttons of the same type or same style. We're actually going to do a webinar about this in the future, so keep an eye out for that. I'm just going to quickly go menu, and then SIF, obviously we want to go to SIF, jump to slide, jump to SIF, and Jedi, jump to slide, and are we ready? So here's my e-learning module. Did you save the style of the button? No, I didn't save the style of the button, Gretel. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because we'll do a webinar about styles very soon. Okay, so how do we get this module into a free online web platform? Well, I've got some bad news. Unfortunately, when you publish your module, if you publish as HTML SWF, most of you, probably all of you, are familiar with the fact that when you publish it, you can't, or when you, sorry, I'm trying to talk as I do stuff, I'm not very good at that. When you publish, what it does, as you, let's just see if this works, play, okay, welcome to my e-learning example, SIF, Jedi, great, okay, so it works. You'll also notice that if I just go back to the beginning and pause that, you'll see that that image is quite sharp. That's simply because I put it in a large canvas, and I did actually publish as, if we have a quick look again, publish as Scalable HTML. So I'm giving half the webinar away for next time, but you'll now notice that if we change the size of, not the taskbar, but the browser window, where is those buttons? You'll notice that it scales quite nicely. Okay, now here's the problem with this particular situation, and that is, 2 secs, just going to get my path for here, because that's where I put it. Okay, so this is the folder that was published, and inside that folder you've got all these files. Unfortunately, what we're going to look at with the portfolio doesn't allow you to upload these files and create an interactive module on WordPress or MyPortfolio. Now, what you can do, and this is not for this particular forum, if you do have your own website and you do have your own URL, and you are able to FTP files up to a website, then you could create a portfolio that allows you to have interactive modules. Okay, so just letting you know that that's, and obviously that costs money. So that wasn't the name of this, or that wasn't the idea of this particular webinar that we're doing today. We wanted to show you how you can use free tools. So what you can do, a way to work around this is this. Why don't we record a video demo of our e-learning? And we create a video, and if you had a microphone attached, you could give a bit of running commentary while you're working through the video demo to explain how you made it. Now, as far as I'm concerned, if I'm an employer looking for an e-learning developer and I saw a video showing how, with commentary that someone had done to show how they had created the module, then I would be more than happy to consider that on top of an interactive module, because you're giving it a go. So what I've just done here, I'll just go back through that again. Here's the Star Wars e-learning module. Now what I want to do is I'm just going to actually close this down so we don't confuse the issue. So I'm just going to save that. I should have named it, so it's a slap on the wrist for me because I didn't even name the file. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to create a video demo of our e-learning module, and it's the e-learning module that is opened up from our computer. Now, I'm going to actually close this down once again to prepare ourselves for this. What I want to do is I want to navigate to the location where I published my Captivate file, and here's the Star Wars folder. I'm going to open that up by clicking on Index, and I'm just going to hold it here for a minute, okay? And what I want to do is I actually want to record a video demo of me navigating through the e-learning. So going back to Captivate, new video demo. I'm going to select the window to record, which is this one here, and I'm going to click on record. Now, unfortunately, because my microphone is being used by the webinar, I can't use it for the Captivate, so I'll probably get some. It may not work, but if you're doing this at home or at work, then you might want to consider doing some commentary, because you're showcasing or showing off your e-learning. So I'll just quickly have a quick look at this. So record. Okay, this is some e-learning I developed using Captivate. I want to show you the finished product. I've got a play bar down the bottom. I've customized that, or I've taken buttons away, etc., etc. What I did on this screen, I'm just going to pause it for a moment. I inserted an image and I centered it. I've used a shape up the top with text in the shape. I allowed the slide to play out and go on to the next slide. On this particular slide, I put two buttons to create branching. If I click on this button, it goes down this path with these slides. If I click on this button, it will take me back to the menu. And then if I click on this button, it goes down this branch, and here are my quiz, etc., etc. And then, of course, that's my e-learning module that I'd like to present for you. And then you press end on the keyboard. That ends the video demo. So, of course, now, and that's gone in that side on that screen. Now, this is a video demo in Captivate. You could do a couple of other things. We did actually a webinar around this, so I won't spend a lot of time. But of course, you could do things like pan and zoom. If those of you who, if you want to show zooming into a particular button, etc. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because we did do this in the last webinar. However, we now have a video example or a video demo of our interactive module. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to publish that. And sorry about that, just a few windows escape me. So file and then publish. I'm just going to publish this back on the desktop. And folder, and here's a video demo of Star Wars e-learning. All of these settings are fine. You can just leave those as is. Feel free to dig a little bit deeper as to some settings that may be appropriate. But we'll click publish. Now, while we're waiting for that to publish, what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to, for example, I'll start off with the MyPortfolio example. So, has anyone actually come across MyPortfolio in the Adobe suite? So when you hit this page, up in the top right-hand corner, it will ask you to log in under your Adobe account. Once you log in, you will be presented with this page where it says Edit Your Portfolio. So if you click on Edit Your Portfolio, I've got it open here in the background anyway. I have actually started this, but what you can do is you can, and this is just an example of my particular portfolio. I'm just going to close that down actually. Here we go. So after you click on Edit My Portfolio, this is the edit sort of admin area of this particular page or this particular site. So a couple of things obviously you can do. You can change the portfolio URL. So the word that you put in there is a subdomain. So put anything in there that you like. You can put a custom domain if you want to go in and change all your DNS settings and stuff like that. That's pretty much all I've really done with this particular example. You can also choose to pick whichever landing page, so when people land on that site, depending on what page you've put in there, and I've just set that page to come up. There are different themes, so switch themes, so you've got all these different themes in here you can choose. This is the theme that I've got at the moment, but you can just click once and away you go, switch theme. And that's now changed the theme, but it's kept all the content in there, which is great. So basically what you do is you can add a page, and then the page to showcase your work. Here's Star Wars, can fit under the work section. As I said, I won't go into a lot of detail about this. I just want to connect the dots for you. Now, if we go back to YouTube, now of course, if you don't have a YouTube account, I would recommend that you get one. I'm going to upload that Star Wars video. So I'm going to select files to upload. And of course, you could use Vimeo if you wanted to as well, or any web video service. I'll show two examples here. This is using Star Wars. So I'm going to upload the Star Wars example into YouTube. You can choose to have this unlisted, which means it won't show up on your gallery page in YouTube, but you can still embed it into other websites. So while that's being done there, 95% processing, let's go back to our portfolio. There's Star Wars. Now, in here, the nice thing about my portfolio is that you can add or you can grab content from other Adobe areas as well, like Creative Cloud files or Lightroom photos. You can actually upload files as well. So I could actually upload the video, which I'll do as well. And you can add more content. So for example, in this particular page, I've got the video uploaded directly to my portfolio. And if I wanted to, I could also embed some media as well. Might just cancel there. I'll get out of it. Let's have a quick look. I'm just going to update the live site. So view your site. And there's the Star Wars page there. And that video is probably just processing at the moment. So we'll come back to that. Or what I could actually do if I wanted to is I could embed some media. So if we go back to YouTube, there's my custom thumbnail, done. And what I can also do is I can visit the video now, even while it's processing. I can go into share. I can grab my embed code, which is under here, so I can just copy that. and then I can obviously go back to my portfolio. I can embed the media, click on embed, and that will show the YouTube video of the same thing. So you've got a couple of options to either grab videos from YouTube. I think showing that you can embed videos from YouTube is a good little thing to showcase as well. I'm going to update the live site. So that's connecting Captivate with MyPortfolio. So hopefully that's given you some ideas. Of course, as I said before, my personal preference would be to create a WordPress example. Now, to get started with WordPress, what we do is we go to WordPress.com. And you can get started straight away. This is free as well. And what this will do is it will create a website for you very similar to MyPortfolio, where it's a subdomain of WordPress.com. So it'll be myfantasticeLearning.wordpress.com. And all you do here is you click on Get Started. You can actually, sorry, I'm going to, if you've gone through the steps before, it'll pick up where you left off. Let me try a different browser, just so we can show you how this works. Or do I do it under? Here we go, WordPress. So get started. So the first page that pops up, let's create a site. Please answer these questions so we can help you make the site you need. My amazing e-learning portfolio. You can change all this later as well, by the way. So learning amazingness. Showcase your portfolio, or you can choose one of these other options. I'm a beginner, so I continue here. Now, this is where you give it an address. So say, for example, I thought, okay, I want eLearning.wordpress.com. Now, the thing is, that site's already been taken. So what it does is it gives you this random number. Now, you can change that at the, sorry, I'll go back. You can change that at the end. Sorry. But what I'd suggest is try and do something like your name or your last name. And you'll see once it finds an available subdomain, like this one, for example, you'll see straight away that it gives you a nice, neat address. If you wanted to go and pay money to grab a web address, you can choose any one of these here, and it's pretty, it's $5 or $10 a month for that. So that's something that you might want to explore. Now, if I click on that one, and here you've got some options. So $5 a month, $10 a month, or $33 a month. Or right down the bottom, start with free. So that's what you want, start with free. And then you put your email address in and so forth. Now, I've already done that, so I'm just going to switch back to where I've already done this. And here is the site that I've actually created. So what you end up with is when you first get the page created, depending on what theme you selected, and it's just a matter of picking the theme. A couple of things with this particular, or with WordPress, what I do recommend doing, and you can go back through the webinar recording just to double check a couple of things. There is this option under settings. So if you scroll down on the left-hand side, you can go into settings. And then if you go up to writing and scroll down, you've got this option that says portfolio projects. So that's something that you might want to consider as well. And while you're here, you might even decide, okay, it might be a good idea to maybe start blogging about my e-learning journey. And that's something that employers may look favorably at as well. Now, you can, in WordPress, you can create pages, blog posts, and this portfolio option does appear when you actually tick this box. So you actually have this being displayed here. So regardless of what you choose, and I might grab a blog post, for example. So today is solo day, and I created this Star Wars e-learning project. And then all you do, once again, is you grab the embed video from YouTube or Vimeo or whichever video hosting service you want to choose. You just copy that, you go back to WordPress, and you just paste straight away, and you'll see that it comes up with this special code. So that's fine there. And then if we, there's a couple of other options over here. You can also, this is pretty cool, you can set a featured image. So I'm just going to go and grab a featured image, might even grab the same one, just to make it relevant. And once that image has been set as a featured image, click on featured image, and then you might even invite people to also allow comments. So you can put this out to your peers and say, oh, look, I created this e-learning module. I'd really love your feedback, etc., etc., etc. So there are a couple of options here. You can also add tags, so e-learning, enter Star Wars, etc., etc. And new category, portfolio. So look, there's lots of different ways to display your content on WordPress. Once you click on publish and then publish again, and you can literally have, look, we're 35 minutes in, you can have an e-learning portfolio up and running in 35 minutes. And you'll see here, this is the portfolio, or this is the URL to this particular page. And there's the video of me demonstrating my Captivate file with maybe some narration. And you could also type into the blog post or into the project. Here's the project section of WordPress. So I can go in here, for example. Similar type of thing. It's just another way of presenting the screen. So you can literally have a portfolio up and running in about 35 minutes. Of course, you need to create the Captivate content, but that's all for free. So we've shown you how to do this for free. Now, have I spoken too fast, or have I gone through anything too quickly? And would anyone like me to touch on anything? Again, I probably, I thought this might have taken a little bit longer, but we've managed to get through that. As I said, join the dots. Captivate, create the video demo of your Captivate file. I think that's probably one of the key things that you think, oh yeah, of course I can. I can create a video demo of my interactive module, even though it's not interactive on WordPress or MyPortfolio. At least I'm giving a demonstration of it being interactive. When you go in for your when you go into your interview, you can take your laptop, and then once you have the interview, you can show via the laptop how that is interactive. Craig, this is great. Was wondering how you do something like this in Storyline. Good question. So Storyline allows you to, so you create your Storyline module as you would with all of the interactivity that you need to. Showcase some best practice. That's one of the things that I would suggest. And I'm going to go back to Captivate here for a moment. And now, correct me if I'm wrong, Craig, but Storyline has a screen recording tool, doesn't it, as part of 360? Is that right? So there is a way of being able to capture the screen. So you pretty much do the same thing. You capture the interactive, you capture the published content. And don't forget, when I created this video demo, all I did was I launched the video demo from a local URL. So I don't even have to publish that e-learning onto a website as such. So, yeah, so look, What I suggest you do is when you create your storyline or Captivate module, try and get into the habit of best practice, as you've mentioned, as some of you mentioned in the chat before. Name your objects, name your slides. Try and use some naming convention. Employers, companies love that, even though they may not implement it themselves. But if you can show that you like to do that, that is very good. I would hire someone who is showing that they use best practice as far as naming things. Don't get me started on that. And then what you could do, here's another little trick for those of you who are still with us. Unfortunately, what I'm just about to show you, you can't do on a Mac, but you can do on a Windows machine. And that is this. I have got Captivate open. Now, what I can do is I can go in and I can open another instance of Captivate. So I have two versions of Captivate open. Now, what I can do then is, and just to show you, you can see here I've now got two versions of Captivate. There's one Captivate window and there's another. So what you could even do is you could create a video demo of you actually developing in Captivate itself. So what I've got here is I've got the screen recording area from the second Captivate instance. I'm going to select Untitled 3, which is the Star Wars eLearning. So now I'm recording inside Captivate. So 3, 2, 1. Hi, I'm in Captivate now, and I've got these slides set up. And just to show you that I have been naming my slides as best practice, and also I've been naming my buttons as well. And I also know how to do things like display the table of contents, etc., etc. So what you're doing is you're actually recording yourself using the software. So that's another approach you could take. That could be a blog post to show people. I'm just going to end that. So as I said, you can only do it on a Windows machine. Mac, you can do it, but depends on, you need to type some code into the Mac terminal to open up another instance. I did try that on my Mac, but it crashed. So it could be a RAM thing. But if you do a search on opening up the same program twice on a Mac, there's a little bit of terminal code that you type in, and you might be able to get it started. So I just wanted to quickly show you. So here's my Captivate demo inside of Captivate. Is this like Inception, a dream within a dream? So this is Captivate inside of Captivate. So here's the video demo of me working on Captivate, and of course, publish that, put it onto your YouTube channel, put it onto your portfolio to demonstrate you actually working in the software, and that could be another good little winner for you. So yeah, any questions? Did anyone want me to go through anything else in particular? As I said, the whole purpose of this particular webinar was to show you how to create a portfolio for free. So using free tools, obviously apart from Captivate, which costs money, or Storyline, whichever e-learning authoring tool you create. But I do highly recommend, as an e-learning person, it's a really good idea to probably get a good understanding of WordPress, and this is all for free. You don't have to pay any money, and you can start to appreciate and understand how WordPress works, because I think there was a very large organization recently posted an ad for an organizational development consultant, One of the prerequisites, or one of the nice to haves, was experience with WordPress. So I can highly recommend you probably go down the WordPress path, or look, if you want to create the portfolio path as well and have both of them, hey, that would be a good thing as well. Hey, I'm going to give you some of your lunch hour back, but I'm happy to go through anything again. I'm happy to touch on anything or go over something in a little bit more detail if you want, but have a good explore. Hopefully that's helped you join the dots. The trick there was to create a video demo of your published Captivate file with narration, hopefully, as well. So I think that's the first time we've actually ever sort of officially finished early. I could keep going. I could go down the WordPress theme. Look, there's all these great themes in here. Just showing you here. So I've just clicked on themes here from the admin area. Free. Some really cool themes. I'm going to try to just have a look at this one. So Activate. So you can change your themes without losing content. So I've literally just changed my theme, and you'll be able to see now that I want to view the site. Here we go, visit site, and this is my new theme, new portfolio. Just by clicking a button, being able to change the theme. And the nice thing about these as well is that they're mobile friendly, or most of them should be anyway. So I'm pretty excited about sharing with you how to create a free website and an e-learning portfolio in 45 minutes. No excuse. I'm going to be looking up, I'm going to be searching all of the names in our attendees list, and I want to see some e-learning portfolios by 5 o'clock this afternoon. Okay, that's my my Pepsi challenge to you. Even if you just get a site up, please feel free to email us. I'd love to check it out. If you want some feedback, absolutely get in touch. I'd be really happy to provide some feedback. And we could even set up a little showcase of e-learning portfolios, which has just given me a great idea. So if you would like to submit your portfolio to the portfolio of portfolios, send your URL through once you've got it up and running. And I think we might start to put together a portfolio of portfolios. So happy to help. Scott, I want to see your portfolio. Actually, I want to see yours by 1 p.m. Scott Brassington, that's your challenge. I want to see an e-learning portfolio by 1 o'clock. So you've got 1 hour and 15 minutes. Yep, no, you should be doing it. You can do it on your phone. And by the way, if you use WordPress, you can update your WordPress site from your phone. There's a really good WordPress app which allows you to blog on the go, and if you wanted to capture some ideas about blog posts, or you could even blog about industry-related things, blog about stuff that you have read, stuff that you've discovered, new tips and tricks, because your online presence in the form of a portfolio is really going to, if I was interviewing, I would put people with portfolios at the top of the list. So that's my inside information for you. So any other questions? Anyone got any pressing questions or feedback? Any feedback? Was that okay? Did that cover enough without going into too much detail? But yeah, I do recommend getting a YouTube page. Just also wanted to show you as well that obviously with this one that's unlisted, if we go back to our actual YouTube homepage, then in actual fact that site or that video that I've just uploaded isn't visible on our homepage. So that's still able to be, it's unlisted, so it's still able to be embedded into web pages or WordPress pages or MyPortfolio pages. I could keep talking forever, but hopefully you have been inspired to get started. Hopefully that was enough to get started. Feel free to check out our YouTube channel, which is in front of you.